The creation of UMBC's mascot was in 1966, which happens to be Maryland's state dog. No, not the Golden Retrievers, but the Chesapeake Bay Retrievers. In the fall of 1966, there was a contest at the new university for the students to pick the new mascot. On October 30th, 1966, they announced that Tom Berlin won the contest to create the mascot of the Chesapeake Bay Retrievers. After the nomination, in 1967, Claudia, which was the mother of a lacrosse player that played at UMBC, Peter, donated a dog to the school so they could have a live mascot. One of the more famous statues of the mascot is in front of the RAC building at UMBC. It has been told that if you rub the statue's nose, it will give you good luck, so many students rub his nose before exams. This statue was created in 1987 by Paulette Ray. She was an alumni from UMBC that graduated with a philosophy degree. She created this structure in the studio at Towson University, which was her first statue of a dog she's ever created. In 1933, there were complaints about how the mascot suit was falling apart in the school newspaper. There have been many complaints about how the mascot got sewed so many times and were held together by the cheerleaders' bobby pins. After the loss of the mascot's pants during a game, this was the cause to finally get a new mascot suit. In 2001, after anticipating for many months if there should be a new logo, there was a ceremony for the new logo revealed on the RAC building. In 2006, it was stated in the UMBC newspaper that there was a consideration in turning the mascot from a retriever to a ninja. The reason behind this was to get more government funding for the school if they changed the mascot, such as more money for new merchandise. Obviously, this was just an idea, so the mascot stayed the same as the retriever. So what made you become the mascot? Why did you want to become the mascot?
I remember when I was at my orientation here, we had little sheets of paper on the table that had the fight song on them. And there was a picture of Trudy Grit, which we used to be the old female mascot.
Yeah.
She was dressed up in a cheerleader costume. I'm like, oh, that looks so cute. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding out that Trudy died, that it wasn't used anymore. So I was like, well, how do I become True Grit? And I ended up asking around, and I found the right person. I'm like, okay, I want to be the mascot. He's like, okay, you start Wednesday.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I heard about that, the whole mascot being a girl for a little. How long was that? Do you know?
It's about the Trudy Grit costume? I'm not sure. It was way before I started.
Yeah.
What they ended up doing was using that extra costume. They bought a new costume, and that was the new True Grit costume. Mm-hmm. And the old one, they dressed up as Trudy Grit. They put eyelashes on it, and put her in a cheerleading costume. They ended up taking that costume off, putting an old basketball uniform on it, and hanging it up in the back of the rack. So there used to be a mannequin hanging, watching over everyone in the lobby.
In 2007, they decided to dress the mascot into a cheerleading uniform to call her Trudy Grit. She represented the sister of True Grit, which is very rare to see a mascot dressed in women clothes. October in 2008, there was a new puppy named Gritty that represented the UMBC mascot.
I think the most special event I got to do was my own graduation. I was asked to lead the procession out of graduation. So what happened was the arts people graduated first, so I walked across the stage, and then I went out the back door, and I was in a special room with the provost and Dr. Grabowski, and I was basically back there chilling out. I got in costume, and then I went back out and led everyone out, and that's just special, that's your graduation day.
Yeah.
But you still get to do something really special.
Has the mascot made you feel more part of the school?
Yes, 100%. The spirit and the connection, I feel it's so much stronger. I was just on a bus a couple days ago going from New York to Baltimore, and that was the day of the America East final. And I'm sitting on that bus watching this game because it matters, it's I'm a part of this school, and I will always be a part of it, and it's I bleed black and gold.
How has it been recognized on Barstool's magazine?
That was an incredible article. I read that and I teared up, and every time I read it out loud to someone, it just makes me emotional. It said, could the UMBC Retriever be the most talented mascot ever? And how do you respond to something like that? That's you doing all those things. It's anonymous, but in your heart you're like, oh my gosh, I did those things, and I'm being recognized for it, and it's a huge honor.
Having a mascot during events affects the way people are at the games.
It affects the sort of crowd to player connection. Like, the mascot is sort of both. The mascot is a part of the crowd, but then the mascot's also in the uniform, so they're also sort of like a player because they're out on the court, but they go between, the bleachers and the court. So it's sort of like the representation of both. You're the number one fan, but you're also considered a member of the team.
Over the years, True Grit has participated in many of the events at school, such as the sports events, orientation, when the chess club won their championship, and many other school events, and will always be a part of each victory UMBC has offered to everyone.